Hi everyone, Mike here from Pivot Search in the second of our installments about 5 developments to expect in the robotics market in the next 5 years. Today I'm with Eduardo de Robbio, Strategic Business Development Manager for Robotics, AI and Motion Control at Omron. It's great to talk to you, Eduardo, and thank you for making time to talk with us.
Hi Michael, good morning. Thank you for the opportunity. It's a pleasure to be here.
So when we first spoke, Eduardo, you mentioned that you wanted to talk about the application of cobots and mobile robotics in high-mix, low-volume production applications. So can you tell me a little bit about why this is important and why you think it's going to be influential over the next 5 years or so?
Well, from our point of view, what we basically see is a strong demand in having a manufacturing line becoming much more adaptive, much more adjustable to the final product. So there are two clear trends. There is a labor shortage, so people don't want to perform and do repetitive tasks. So that's why robotics is one of the solutions. And then there is the additional complexity of having to handle different kind of product, series of product that are changing over time. In the past, the life cycle of a product was years. Today is months, sometimes weeks. Especially in the food and commodity space that we see. And from that point of view, we looked into this, and even from our point of view here at Omron, we decided to focus a lot on the expansion of a solution that go from the standard high throughput machines, so machine at very high speed, to machines that are not anymore rigid, are much more flexible. They become cells. Each cell performs a function, and that function can be combined to produce products. And that's where cobots plays a key role. Cobots, together with the traditional robots that are still very, very important to automate certain solution, they give this extra level of flexibility to create these islands, these cells that perform specific tasks. Mm-hmm. And when you have a task in each machine, the most flexible way to connect them and to respond to a jittering demand coming from the high mix low volume is to use mobile robotics as a main element to drive product, to transport product from A to B. And of course, this is not always something you want to use. There are lines where you need to go with standard conveyor or more classic method. But our customers are demanding more and more solution that can adjust and adapt to the demand. Mm-hmm. That's a key driver of that statement, and we already touched last time.
Mm-hmm. So I guess the key topic is the flexibility.
Absolutely. That's the flexibility in terms of product changeover, in terms of changeability really between family of products. So you can simply change certain feature of the product. You can change the family, really the target of that product. Even you can change the factory. The level of automation in a factory can change depending on how much really how dynamic is really the market. Mm-hmm. So that scalability is fundamental, and is becoming the key element to build the factory of the future around it. Mm-hmm. And that's where we normally sit with our customer and discuss this idea. Most of the time, you have to retrofit an existing line. People don't always have investment to build a new line. But there are also new factories that are designed like Vola in Denmark. We just had a very nice project where the solution is entirely working around our mobile robotics platform. And where the 98% of the product are handled autonomously, which is really a big advantage in that level of product. They build fitting for bathroom in that case. It's just an example. Mm-hmm. But in the automotive space and in the food industry where we normally play most of the time, mobile in combination with Cobots is bringing that level of acceptance that today create more and more opportunity. Mm-hmm. The point is that when people talk about robot, they think that are a fantastic machine. You push a button and it's suddenly able to solve all the application, and that's not true. It is important first of all to talk to the right experts, technology is advancing very well, but there are still some of the challenges. The combination that we see key to solve those challenges are to get together the technology that make robot look more like human. Mm-hmm. And that has to do with vision system, to the bidimensional, three-dimensional, with inspection, without inspection, really depends on the application, and sensing in general, no? Be able to sense the environment. So when you pick a product like it can be a mouse, mm-hmm. This has many parts, but in order to see the parts, assembly the parts, there is a lot of sensing involved, and that's where I think vision is playing a key role, mm-hmm. And it's becoming much more advanced.
Mm-hmm. So why is this actually important for a manufacturer or a warehouse or whatever the application may be? Why does it matter?
It matters because it takes time to train. First, to find people to perform this assembly process in this specific example, then to train them. And the problem with that is also that people like to change their own job. They don't stay, in a production line with repetitive tasks. It's boring, you know? Mm-hmm. So the key is really to create a system where workers collaborate with machine, collaborate with robots, mm-hmm. And they become part of the programming environment, part of the teaching phases. They can tell the machine how product needs to be built, because that's what human does very, very well. Mm-hmm. The human knows that it is able to create, and the machine should just execute. So that difficulty becomes an opportunity at the end. Create more advanced skills on the factory floor, and delegate to machine those repetitive tasks that the robot can perform. So for the owner of the factory, or the production manager, or it really depends on the company. It is key to have a solution that is predefined for certain application. It can be pick and place application, assembly application. Dispensing, for instance, is another area where we do a lot of application. Mm-hmm. Palletizing, palletizing is another good example. How many people can lift, 24 hours per day, free shift, small boxes, 5 to 10 kilos, and put on a pallet? Where is the fun? Where is the contribution? So it's better to have a robot doing that, and all the staff learning about how to program that cell, how to change from box A to box B, for instance, how to have some inspection system in interacting with that machine to have a full traceability solution, for instance. Mm-hmm. So those are applications that we see more and more entering in the manufacturing line, thanks to the flexibility that Cobots and mobile bring to the solution.
So we're not talking about a factory or facility with no humans working in, are we? We're talking about a collaborative environment, a harmonious environment, so to say.
Absolutely. The collaboration is fundamental. There are different levels of collaboration. You can go from an application where the robot is really sharing the working environment with the robot. For instance, back to my mouse. That's what I have to give you an example. But you can imagine the worker is taking the part, bringing it to the robot to do some operation inspection, for instance, and then go to the next step. Mm-hmm. That's a very strong collaboration, maximum level of cooperation. Mm-hmm. That's where Cobots are mandatory. Or you can simply have two stations, one robotized and the other one manual. Yeah. Well, then they collaborate and they exchange certain parts in a specific area. So there are different levels of collaboration. The key point, I believe, is really how easy it is to bring automation to a factory thanks to the mobile robotics and cobotics due to their level of adaptability. There are no needs like in the past to adapt a lot the existing infrastructure. They get adjusted to the factory. They really adjust to the environment very well. You don't have a barrier. You don't have a lot of fences. Mm-hmm. In case of mobile, you just need really to have a robot scanning and creating the map in the factory once, and they can recognize the environment and bring the product from machine A to the warehouse, or from the warehouse to machine B. Mm-hmm. goals that can be set by software and can be changed dynamically according to the order that is coming to the factory.
Right.
That is, I think, a big value, that make automation easier to be adopted.
I think what you say there is 100% right. When people think about industrial robots, particularly in automotive applications, electronics, the installation time can be years. The programming, the maintenance, things like that. And that's been a barrier. And what you're saying is that in these new technologies, mobile, collaborative, that's no longer a barrier anymore, which is interesting.
That's the point. It is not a barrier from an easy-to-use point of view, but also in terms of installation. You don't need to prepare anymore the factory floor, dedicate a specific space to the robotic cells with all the fences. Depending on the application, of course, but most of the time you can take a robot, put it on a line, teach it, and have already some basic task performed. Of course, if the application is more complicated, we will need some extra time and more integration with the existing machine, with the PLC, which is where we do some good integration also in terms of cooperation between products under the same family. This is a key fact. Similarly for the mobile part. On the mobile side, you can bring it in and adjust to the conveyor that is delivering the product or to the warehouse that is receiving a product in the same way. That is an important matter. In the coming 5 years, I believe that is extremely important to pay attention to how the regulations are going to change. Actually, in 2022, it's expected to have a new harmonized regulation about collaborative robots, about safety. We play a key role in that committee or lobby, where basically, there are a lot of discussion about, what's the level of safety that we need to allow, how to certify, what's the role of the risk assessment, and it's all under discussion again after many years of static or very rigid robotic cells. The concept is changing, and the regulation is to follow, right?
What are these applications? Would you say they're limited to the large customers who have lots of capital to spend on things like automation, or is this also applicable in smaller shops and facilities?
That's a good question. Regarding the collaborative robotics, the answer is quite simple. It's no. You can use it in SMEs, so small and medium enterprise, and go up to the top makers. And the reason why this is possible is that the technology is very accessible from a cost point of view. You can buy a Cobot for 20K, even less. Really depends on the model. And the hardware and the software around it is less complex. So someone with a minimum of experience, after getting a couple of days of training, can use a Cobot to pick product and do a machine tending application, which is one of the most common ones. Load and unload part from a CNC machine can be done very easily. This company are normally a small company. They have some basic programming skills because they are already programming CNC machines. And then it's easy to build a simple gripper, grab the product and load and unload instead of having a person 8 hours doing that task. So Cobot definitely goes and is scalable from small, medium enterprise up to the big ones. In case of mobile, the story is different. There is some room for SMEs to use mobile, but normally the key benefit becomes much more clear when you have a fleet of robots. 3, 4, 5. We have a fleet up to 65. It's the biggest AMR fleet over the globe. That's why we are leading that kind of installation with big companies in the globe. Continental is one of our big companies, BMW, etc. So in that case, you need to start small, have 1 or 2 robots to test the concept, understand really how these cooperate and collaborate with the workers, which at the beginning is not always easy. When you see these objects moving around and avoiding you that so smartly that creates some concern at the beginning, especially a few years ago. And then after that validation, you scale up, and you can go up to, in our case, we can control up to 100 robots with one fleet manager, which is one unit. Or you can have sub-fleets. In each department or each area, you can have sub-fleets. They all connect to one system to make sure that the product flow is properly controlled.
So we've spoken, I guess, generally about what to expect. What can we expect from Omron in the next sort of 4 or 5 years in this space, particularly?
From Omron, we can expect many things. First of all, we recently launched new mobile robots to complete our portfolio. Today we go from 60 up to 1,500 kilograms. So these are the components that allow you to build the puzzle, your solution. You now have the hardware to handle products. And in collaboration with our system integrator, our partners, who are the ones building the conveyor top or the lifting platform on top of the robot to interact with the machine, we create that infrastructure. So in the coming years, what you can expect is, of course, new vehicles, but much more functionality in the software, in terms of being able to understand better the environment, use 2 and 3D sensing technology to recognize not only other robots, but also people, objects, and other elements that allow you to make the best trajectory plan and optimize the product flow at the end. And also collect all the data. We see the robot not only as a unit that transports material, we also see the robot as a unit that is a sensor. Robot is sensing the environment. You have a LiDAR today, which is a 2-dimensional laser system that is scanning all the time around. So you have data about traffic, you have data about how many people in that area, you know if there are a congestion. So all this information that we are already collecting, we are launching this next month, the first release of Flow IQ, which is our AI part, which allows you to do some predictive maintenance, create a dashboard related to production, and later become much more intelligent to optimize the product flow, and also suggest the user where you have some congestion, where you have some hot area that needs improvement. That's one thing. On the traditional robotics slash cobotics, we don't make big differences. We normally don't focus on the robot itself. Omron is not a robotics company. We focus on automation. We really look at the problem and try to give an automation solution. And if the robot fits, fantastic. If it doesn't, we have other things to solve. I think that's the point. We try to solve a customer problem. And in that area, there will be much more integration on the line. There will be new modules, application-based. So we are going to release, things like packaging modules, assembly module, dispensing module, to make way shorter the development time and life easier to our system integrators.
Perfect. I look forward to it.
Yeah, it's coming. I'm also looking forward to it.
Good,
sure.
Perfect. Well, it's been good to cover as much as we could in such a short space of time. Thank you very much for taking the time, by the way. Really interesting to hear your thoughts on, I guess, the general market and also what Omron are doing too as an industry leader. Very much looking forward to normality. I know at some exhibitions you've showcased some pretty cool technology. The table tennis one was always my favorite. So I look forward to what happens next. And thanks again for your time, Eduardo.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you again for the opportunity. It has been a pleasure. And let's automate, let's robotize as much as we can with the nice technology and try to have some fun with it.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much.